Right now, the author of Safety On, also the author of a column at the Daily Wire. To save America, we must teach our kids about gun culture. Yehuda Remer is with us. Yehuda, how are you today?
Doing good. How are you?
I am fantastic. I appreciate you coming on the program. This is really, really cool. I was so excited to see your name beneath this column there at the Daily Wire. We got a chance to meet each other in Atlanta, and I got to find out all about your book, Safety On, and clearly this is not just a one-off for you. This is something you want to keep talking about.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very important to teach kids about guns, gun safety, America's gun culture, and it's something that I'm trying to get into more.
So you use that phrase gun culture, and it's funny because there was a op-ed, and I don't know if this spurred you on. It was last week. I can't remember where it was, but basically their assertion was, I think it was Huffington Post. It's not the gun owners, it's not the guns, but it is quote unquote gun culture that's driving violence, and so we have to eradicate quote unquote gun culture. I don't know how you do that while keeping the legal gun owners in place, but it seems to be like the phrase gun culture can mean pretty much anything you want it to mean. What do you mean when you say gun culture?
Well, first off, I did not read that Huffington Post piece, so I'm not sure what you're referring to. But when I talk about the gun culture in America, when I use that phrase, I'm talking about what the Second Amendment was originally written for, and not just to have as a firearm for self-defense. This country was built on, fending for yourself and being able to go out and hunt and use different types of firearms, passing down, your great-grandfather's rifle and keep going down the line. That's what I mean about America's gun culture, that this country was built on the fabric of we are allowed to use guns for whatever legal purposes we need in order to survive. And that's what I mean.
Okay. And you quote Richard Henry Lee, whereas to preserve liberty, it is essential that the whole body of the people always possess arms and be taught alike, especially when young, how to use them. And you ask if those are prophetic words. So what do you think happens, Yehuda, to a society or to a culture when that is lost, when in fact it becomes a dominant a strain of thought that you want to do whatever you can to keep your kids completely away from firearms? You don't ever want them to touch one. You don't ever want them to exhibit an interest in them. You certainly don't ever want to take them to a range or get them involved in 4-H shooting sports or something like that. What happens to a society when that becomes the dominant train of thought?
Well, to quote Ronald Reagan, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. So you take away that aspect of guns are bad, don't teach your kids about guns, about what they could do, good and bad, then, you have tyranny. You don't have freedom anymore.
Talking again with Yehuda Remer, author of Safety On, a gun safety book for kids. And, Yehuda, you and I were talking about this in Dallas. You did not grow up in a gun-owning family. I did not grow up with a gun-owning parent. I became a gun owner as an adult. And, I'll be honest with you, like, every time I talk to somebody about, their dad teaching them when they were really young to be safe around firearms, they've got these memories of plinking with mom and dad going hunting. I'm envious of those individuals. I wish that my parents had brought up firearms, had taught me how to shoot, because my parents weren't opposed to firearms; they just didn't own them. And I feel like, if they would have taken that extra step, I would have had some great memories growing up.
I can agree with that. I grew up in Los Angeles, so the concept of firearms, like I wrote in the article, is so foreign to me that military, police, and bad guys were the only ones that had firearms. The ability to actually carry a firearm with you for any kind of lawful purpose, like I stated, just was a foreign subject to me. And now that I'm 33 years old, and I would love to raise my children different than I was. And I'm about to buy my first .22 cal rifle so that I could start teaching my kids, take them out plinking, and give them those memories that you and I did not grow up with.
Well, listen, I can tell you when we moved here to Farmville, that was one of the first things that we did was go out with the little single shot 22, and I got to teach my kids their first gun safety lesson, and it was great. If I don't have those memories as a kid learning from mom and dad, I at least now have the memories of being a dad teaching my kids, and that's something that I continue to do with them, and I know that I will treasure those memories for a long, long time, long after they are grown and have started a family of their own.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, I have a friend who's got about 100 acres in East Texas, and hopefully going to take my son for the first time to go shooting and just hit some targets and have some good times.
That is awesome. Well, listen, I do appreciate you coming on the program. Safety On, an introduction to the world of firearms for children. And I didn't know this, but you helped. You had some help with this, you say, from a friend in the LAPD, Officer Dave, right?
Officer Dave, yeah. A really close friend of mine in L.A., Officer Dave, we'll just call him that for now. Don't want to get him in any kind of trouble in any way. It's L.A., so you never know.
Right.
He saw the first draft. I wrote the first draft of my book, actually, on my cell phone. And I sent it to him, and he tore it apart. I mean, gave me just amazing constructive criticism, walked me through all of the gun safety protocols that you take, and told me, add this, take away this, what do you think of this? And he really coached me along the way, and to the point where anytime I got a new illustration, I would not tell the illustrator that we can go ahead until my buddy Officer Dave gave me the green light, because I wanted it to be, if he approved it, then it was good for me.
That is awesome. All right, so where can folks get Safety On, an introduction to the world of firearms for children?
Amazon. Go to Amazon, you can find it there, and yeah.
Easy enough. Yehuda, listen, thank you again for coming on the program. I look forward to reading more of your writing, because you write pretty good for adults, too, I got to say.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. We'll talk again soon. Yehuda Remer, you can follow him on Twitter as well, at Yehuda Remer, Yehudaremer.